Welcome back to Law and Crime Daily. We end our show with new developments in Wisconsin. A federal judge ruled that a wrongful death lawsuit against Kyle Rittenhouse can move forward. Rittenhouse stood trial in November of 2021 for killing 2 people and wounding a third during civil unrest in Kenosha. The jury acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse, who was just 17 at the time he opened fire with an AR-15. That same year, John Huber filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Rittenhouse, city officials, and members of law enforcement. His son, 26-year-old Anthony Huber, was killed while attempting to disarm Rittenhouse with a skateboard. Huber claims officers allowed the dangerous situation to unfold, violating his son's constitutional rights and resulting in his death. He also believes Rittenhouse conspired with law enforcement to intentionally harm protesters. Huber is seeking unspecified damages. During trial, Rittenhouse was questioned about the circumstances around Huber's death. Here's what he had to say.
As I'm running past Mr. Huber, he's holding his skateboard like a baseball bat, and he swings it down, and I block it with my arm, trying to prevent it from hitting me, but it still hits me in the neck. I get lightheaded, I almost pass out, and I stumble and hit the ground. Mr. Huber, immediately after I'm kicked in the face, runs up as I'm sitting up. He strikes me in the neck with his skateboard a second time.
Then what happened?
He grabs my gun, and I can feel it pulling away from me, and I can feel the strap starting to come off my body.
And what do you do then?
I fire 1 shot.
When you shoot him, he's got his skateboard in his hand?
Yes.
You didn't see any gun in his hand, correct?
No.
You didn't see a knife?
No.
You didn't see a bat?
No.
You didn't see a club?
No.
All he's got is the skateboard, right?
That he's hit me in the head with twice, yes.
Okay. And you intended to pull the trigger at that moment with your AR-15, correct?
Yes.
The end of that gun was pointed directly at his chest when you pulled the trigger, correct?
Yes.
And you knew that, correct?
Yes.
And you still pulled the trigger, didn't you?
Yes.
Bernardo Rittenhouse won the criminal case. Does that mean he'll likely prevail in a wrongful death lawsuit as well?
Not at all, Brian, because you got to think when it comes to a civil lawsuit, the burden is completely different. At the time of trial, of a criminal trial, the burden was beyond a reasonable doubt, and the prosecution had to disprove that he didn't act in self-defense. When it comes to a civil lawsuit, the burden is more likely than not preponderance of the evidence, 51% against 49%. And you're dealing with the same jury pool. But we also got to take into account that Kyle Rittenhouse testified, and his testimony at the criminal trial will be used at the time of this civil trial. So we'll just have to wait and see. But he has much more hurdles to jump over in terms of the civil trial.
All right, Terry, do you think we'll see similar lawsuits by others who were killed and injured?
Yeah, I think we could see similar lawsuits. We know that at least one other person was killed, one other person was injured. I think here for a wrongful death action, though, what they're going to have to establish is there was some sort of reckless or negligent act that it caused. It's that causal connection. It caused the death of the individual, and the fact that they are related to the individual, which they already have if they bring a wrongful death action. So I think as against, Kyle Rittenhouse, I think they're going to be able to prove that there is that causal connection, but we know that the lawsuit also sued the city and other officials. In that instance, I think it might be a little bit difficult to have that causal connection. But, if you sue Kyle Rittenhouse, there's no deep pockets. So I am certain that the family established this lawsuit because they wanted to get some sort of civil, money in this event. And it obviously is not going to bring back their son or, their brother or whatever the relationship is. But it is going to make it a little bit easier for them to move on, and it gives them compensation for whatever the rest of his life might have given them. And so I think that's why they decided to also sue these other entities. But it might be very difficult under these circumstances because what kind of duty did they have? How would they have known that this was going to occur?
Yeah, I'm interested in that connection as well and how the self-defense applies in the civil. Hey, I'm a criminal attorney, so we'll see how it plays out. Well, thank you both, and thank you for joining us here on Law and Crime Daily. We'll see you next time as we discuss justice in America.